paladin on the other team.
Yeah, because of the bops of the crows and whatnot. It is quite, it's interesting. You think that paladins being good right now and being like a big part of the meta, is that because of how good they are against hunters alone? But I don't know, the gates are opening here, and they're just going to go ahead and leave right away.
Probably didn't have the right spec.
Interesting.
Who's ready for PvP? No?
I'm ready. I'm ready for PvP. Looks like Eddie actually is offline. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, something else to note, guys, to everyone who's competing in these tournaments, make sure that you download either Gladius EX or Gladius WAD, as the regular Gladius does not work in war games. Just keep that in mind when competing in these tournaments. If you're competing in the EU number 2 and you have regular Gladius, you might want to start changing that now, because you only get a 10-minute delay time when it's your turn to compete.
Okay, you're good.
Alright, looks like both teams are ready.
Here we go!
Here we go! The Grand Arena again! Here, I'm gonna play you guys the intro. I didn't play you guys the intro last time. Alright, guys. Actually, let me... Welcome to the Grand Arena. We got 2.5 men going up against PETA. RM Paladin going up against a Thug Cleave. They did bring out the Paladin instead of the Priest or the Restoration Druid for this. I like that choice, like you said, Supa, but I don't know. Specifically, Raiko told me that this specific team, he's a little bit worried about. They have trouble with it.
Yeah, well, both paladins have good abilities to like counteract the big cooldowns that come out on both sides, so I could see the Thug Cleave coming out ahead, especially if Whaazz trinkets something offensively. They have decent cross CC with Hodge too, so the RMD is going to have to be, well, RM Paladin's got to be a lot more careful with how they trinket things. Same goes for Swereborn though on the side of the Thug Cleave. Nobody just found yet Blizzards are coming out. It's going to pull the Hunter out of stealth, so the Paladin's going to get into combat, Shockpower, just spamming denounces even. Mark for death on the Hunter, full kidney. They're going to be going onto him with a deep freeze on his Shockpower. He did sack it. I believe he sacked the full poly, so the poly's going to break. He gets the bop on the remaining seconds of the kidney. Whaazz got bopped out of the kidney as well to stay offensive onto Refren here. They really need to get a deterrence early, but a Hodge now onto Supapalaking. Whaazz could be in trouble. Murder of Crows comes out onto him. He's going to vanish the Murder of Crows off, though, and be just fine.
Yeah, that vanish and the Murder of Crows just stops all of that offensive pressure, but all trinkets available on this RM Paladin team as well as the Thug Cleave. Now, but there's the kidney shot onto Refren, the Hunter. Deep Freeze goes out onto Shockpower. Saved by the Light is going to proc on his Hunter. He's going to be just okay for now, but I don't know. Oh, this is Smoke Bomb onto Whaazz at this point. Planking. I'm just going to call him the Paladin.
Palaking?
Palaking? I guess it's Supapalaking. Oh, he actually gets locked out. Supapalaking getting locked out. Whaazz forced to use that evasion at this point, as he is dipping down relatively low at this point. And the bubble also coming out from Supapalaking, as Whaazz is still dipping lower and lower. He's going to get topped off with that bubble, though. And this is a Smoke Bomb going out on the Hunter. Now the Deep Freeze goes out onto Shockpower. And the full Hodge on I don't even know how to pronounce that rogue's name as well. But that is the execution sentence is going to top off the Hunter.
Full blind coming out onto Supapalaking right now, trying to pressure Whaazz, but he got a combat readiness up. It's going to be fully stacked. He's going to be fine. Barrage is coming out, but it's not going to do anything. Deflected by the combat readiness. Now Hodge onto Supapalaking. Poly onto Shockpower, though. They're swapping to Refren here. Full kidney comes out. He has no trinket. He has 1 deterrence. He has to survive the stun duration. Swereborn caught into a Hodge as well. Can't peel effectively right now. Another poly onto Shockpower into the Deep Freeze. Whaazz gets bopped out of the kidney offensive onto Refren here, trying to finish him. He goes into the camouflage, gets the freedom. Saved by the Light's going to proc. They're cutting through it, though. Shockpower desperately spamming the heals. He just can't handle the damage. The deterrence coming right before the killing spree hits, so it's going to keep him alive for now, but the Shockpower gets locked out, and Refren's going to go down to that lockout, unfortunately, there at the end. And 2.5 men Pulling out the Paladin, pulling out the win.
There it is. Now, Raiko was saying that he's a little bit worried about this team, but I'm going to be honest with you, that was a pretty convincing win. They had quite a few defensive buttons left, but I don't know. Here we go, guys. 2.5 Men is going to take the very first map of this best of 3. Now, before we jump into the second map, how the heck do you pronounce this rogue's name?
Swereborn?
Swereborn?
That's how I'm saying it.
Alright, I dig it. Swereborn it is. Swereborn. Alright. I wonder, is this Thugcleave going to choose like a small map like Ruins of Orderon or something? I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and ask him.
Maybe.
Who is the kill target for this RMPala team, though? I mean, or not RMPala, yeah, from the Thugcleave. I mean, I guess the mage. I mean, if you go on the mage, you're gonna stop a lot of the control coming out from this RMP. But I mean, this RMPala is doing a fantastic job cross CCing and letting his mage get that breathing room to land that CC. I mean, you always see that Whaazz going out onto Swereborn and the deep freeze at the same time. Very, very good cross CC. You can tell these players have been playing with each other for a little bit here.
Well, it seemed like they were focusing Whaazz most of the game, but he can just use Vanish to remove Murder of Crows, so as long as Whaazz isn't vanishing offensively, he's not going to die. Going at Whaazz is something I don't think they can just tunnel him down. Not with a Paladin healer on his team, too. He's just bopping every kidney. So
yeah, they're going to have to like either hard swap with cross CC and the Paladin, and that's very difficult to do with the amount of control coming out from this RM Paladin. But I don't know. Like I said, Raiko did have a little bit of worry for this team, so it could be a completely different game in game number 2. This is a best of 3, so PETA at this point does have to win 2 games in a row to advance at this point. The first team to 2 wins is going to advance in the winner's bracket, and the team that loses, or if they lose one more game here, they will go down to the loser's bracket today. Just a reminder, we will be playing losers round 1 and round 2 as well as round 1 today, so quite a few games to be played today. I think 9 or 8 in total. Here we go.
I could see why they don't want to go on Raiko either. With 2 blocks, 2 bops, it feels like you've got an unending amount of I'm not going to die buttons.
Yeah.
So maybe they feel Whaazz is the only target, but I think they should try Raiko. If they go for Whaazz again, it seemed like they were pretty solid on keeping him alive and offensive. The RMP pushing in for the Blizzard. Going to get in combat, no saps on either side. Actually, Supapalaking getting sapped by Swereborn. The full kidney coming out onto Refren with a deep freeze on Shockpower. Swereborn trying to go offensive with the Adrenaline Rush, but he's going to get hodged on it with a Frost Jaw onto Shockpower with the DR kidney now onto Refren. The Smoke Bomb coming out. He's trying to throw out Murder of Crows onto Whaazz, but he vanished it off. He's still putting out a lot of pressure. Shockpower with the Execution Sentence, though, going to top him off, and now Whaazz on the back foot of Supapalaking's caught in the trap. The blind going to be bopped off of Shockpower. He still has the Avenging Wrath. He's going to be able to keep Refren topped off and just fine, and we're waiting until those Avenging Wraths fade on both sides.
Yeah, Refren now taking a bit of damage from this RMPala. Supapalaking, though, putting that full blind, and the bop goes out onto Whaazz. He's completely fine now. The deep freeze onto Shockpower, the kidney onto Refren. These bops are just reducing all of the momentum of each team, but the Hodge goes out into Supapalaking, the full poly onto Swereborn, but he's just going to get dispelled right out of it. But now the DR poly onto Swereborn, they're still continuing to go onto Refren. This is killing spree onto Refren, the hunter at this point, but is he looking for the trap? Not yet. Shockpower has that aura mastery up. He should be able to keep up Refren, but that's the full poly. It's going to be forced to bubble out of it, and he's stunned inside that smoke bomb, but Shockpower still able to get those heals up on him. But now Whaazz in the back foot. Saved by the Light's going to proc on Whaazz. He's at 50% health. Your Raiko into that stun, and he's going to get trapped up there. The full
he vanished before Murder of Crows.
Uh-oh. So that means that he's not going to have it for the next Murder of Crows, right?
Yep. And there's the Murder of Crows coming out with the full Wyvern Sting. They need to get pressure off of this. This is the only time that they really have an opportunity to. Supapalaking comes out, though, throws a Hodge and a Swereborn. It's going to get dispelled in time, though, but that was not the pressure they needed to get, and Supapalaking's just healing through it just fine.
Yeah, Supapalaking's going to be okay, not eating any CCs, throwing those Hand of Sacrifice up onto Whaazz to really prevent the CC from coming in on himself. They have to dispel that Hand of Sacrifice, and with the nerf to Train Shot, it's very hard to do. But there's a cross CC, the stun onto Supapalaking, and the kidney onto Whaazz. He's going to get bopped out of that. He's going to be okay for now. But I mean, like, this team's not getting very offensive on this Thugcleave all of a sudden. There's the deep freeze on the Pally, the kidney shot onto Refren. Refren could be in a little bit of trouble as the DR polymorph goes out into Shockpower. He's dipping down to 50% health here, and he's forced to use that deterrence. Both teams just making really, really good trades each time. There's the Frost Shot going out into Shockpower, and Refren's dipping low. Saved by the Light's gonna proc, but is it gonna be enough? Killing Spree coming out, but Refren's forced to use his second deterrence, and he's still in trouble here. Shockpower getting locked out, and he's just gonna go down. There it is. 2.5 men taking a convincing 2-0 against PETA. Well then, there it is. I think that the bringing the Paladin out versus this this Thug Cleave really was a good answer. Good choice coming out by them. But I mean, being able to just bop all the momentum coming out from I mean, both teams using those bops to just stop the momentum of the setups of each team is so important. But there it is. GG's. Here, I'll guys show you guys the score screen real quick so you guys can see time in CC and things like that. All right.